The application to appoint a successor personal representative. Hi, I'm Darren Findling of the Probate Pro, and we're going to examine Scale Form PC 620. Scale for State Court Administrative Office, PC for Probate Court. This form is readily obtainable, and you're welcome to contact my office. We're happy to provide it to you free of charge. The form is used in a particular context when there is a deceased estate being administered and the personal representative has either died, is under guardianship or conservatorship, is interested in resigning, or there's a request for the appointment of a new personal representative to come in to replace the old personal representative. So a particular context, it's used when an estate is not yet closed. So if the estate has already been closed and you're reopening it, a different scale form is used. This is during the administrative process. With all of the scale forms, they are created because of various statutes and or court rules. As you can see from the floating arrow here, it is highlighting the various statutes and court rules that give rise to this particular application. So again, probate administration for a deceased estate. This is not for guardianship, not for conservatorship, for probate estate administration, and it is when a new personal representative is sought. Let's work our way through the form. Top left corner is the county upon which the probate sits. Top right corner is the file or case number. At the top, pretty intuitive here. You identify the name of the probate estate and your relationship to the estate. So if you're the applicant here making this request, you'd put your name there and you'd identify how you're related to the estate itself. So if you're interested as the child of the decedent, the surviving spouse, the successor personal representative, you'd identify it under section 1. Now I said your name, but you'll see where the name comes in a little bit, but your relationship to the decedent goes in section 1. From there, again, pretty intuitive. Section 2 has a little checkbox for A. It identifies who you're asking to have removed, who was appointed personal representative. And then there's a checkbox if they've died or if they're now subject to a conservatorship. And because of that conservatorship, the appointment is terminated. So of course, death or conservatorship here. And it asks for a copy of the certificate of death, or if there's a conservatorship in place, then you'd identify it there. And again, this could be used also in a guardianship context. The person that is the personal representative has a particular issue that causes them to go under guardianship or conservatorship. Section B is checked here if the personal representative that's currently in place is resigning and they've issued or executed a written resignation, and you're going to either attach it to this particular application or it has already previously been filed with the court. So again, there's a resignation that isn't a form itself, but you can complete I hereby resign as personal representative and attach it to the petition. Section 3 says it's trying to discern if there are any changes from the original application for probate or petition for probate. If there's been any changes in the facts or issues that led to the appointment of the personal representative. So you'd identify those there. And it asks for an exceptions for any specifically changed or corrected information that you're going to provide to the court. So again, it has 2 lines there and it says attach separate paper if necessary. So you can really give an additional narrative if necessary. Section 4 talks about the priority of appointment. And in Michigan, there is a prioritization of who has the right to be appointed personal representative. If there's a will, of course, that testamentary document identifies the nominated personal representative. It may have a successor personal representative and second successor personal representative. If the person died without a will, we call that intestate. Are you the surviving spouse? Are you a child? What is your right under the statute and court rule for that appointment? And here's why we speak when I'm explaining these various scale forms. You have to understand these rules, these statutes and court rules, to understand how to navigate through the probate process. So we strongly urge you to be working with a skilled, competent probate lawyer to know how to navigate through this process. It's not intuitive to navigate through the process. There's no guidebook, and it's complicated, and it gets people into a whole bunch of trouble and with great frustration if you don't have a skilled, competent probate lawyer to guide you through the process. 5 is very common on these scale forms. It wants to know if there's been any changes in the interested persons as reflected under the core rule, MCR 5.125, and statute. So if the original information on the original petition or application has people's names and addresses, and those names or addresses have changed, this is the spot to update that information on the scale form. Section 6 says, is quite simply, there's a request for a successor personal representative to complete the administration. So there's no checkbox there. It's just simply, it is necessary that a successor is needed to conclude the administration of the estate. 7 talks about a pending appointment of a successor personal representative, what we call a special personal representative, while this application is pending before the court. It's not always used here because very often, if you're using the application for the appointment of a successor, it gets granted quite quickly. So, and sometimes, if there's a delay, you may need a special personal representative to handle particular affairs while this application is pending before the court. Now, here's the request part. This is what you're asking of the court, and there's some repetition here. You're requesting that, and here you identify the name of the person you're requesting to be appointed as successor personal representative, their respective address, and then it provides for this kind of catch-all language that says, or some other suitable person be appointed by as successor personal representative because the initial personal representative has either resigned or their powers have terminated. Now again, this is different than when you're trying to forcibly remove somebody as personal representative because of a breach of fiduciary duties or malfeasance in some way. They've done something wrong where you're asking the court to remove that personal representative. This application is done in an informal way because the personal representative has either died, resigned, or under court protection through the guardian or conservator, and they no longer can perform the role. So again, understand the difference between this form and the petition for removal of personal representative because of some action or lack of action that current personal representative has taken. Let's work our way onto the back side of the form. Here again, you can identify in the event you're looking for a special personal representative. This box for 9 corresponds to the back side of this, or the front side of this form, in which a special personal representative would be needed during the pendency of this application. With all of these scale forms, you are examining it and signing it under the penalties of perjury. So you are asserting to the court that the contents are true to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief. So again, ensure that you're providing accurate, correct information on this form. A spot for the applicant to sign, their relevant address, and if there's an attorney involved, then the information there. Again, a form that is not particularly complicated to complete, but then it has to be filed with the court with the requisite documents to then get a successor personal representative in place. But it's really about the performance of that personal representative where people get themselves in a whole bunch of trouble that we urge you to be working with an attorney. At the Probate Pro, we're passionate about everything probate. If you have questions about the application for a successor personal representative or any probate or trust related issue, visit us at theprobatepro.com or call us at 1-833-PROBATE.